just need to look
Welcome to ClosetBros.
ClosetBros.
We're here with Anchorman V.
Yeah, this is a special episode of ClosetBros. We're actually going to talk about something serious instead of just goofing around like jackasses.
Something topical, in fact. We're gonna talk about the conspiracy issue.
Yeah, I know nothing about this, so he thought it'd be a good idea to talk about this, because on this channel we do play a bunch of indie games, and we love indie games, so I mean...
So it's an important industry to us, and we'd like to kind of make a statement about it, of our feelings. So, Ivan, if you would care to begin explaining to Noah the situation.
Okay, so I guess this would start back with the reaction from the gamers in general to people like Anita Sarkeesian and accusations of sexism, misogyny, and harassment of female game developers in the industry and of gamers towards them. This Zoe Quinn has been in the news before. She was talking about harassment again, and Zoe Quinn is known for a game called Depression Quest, which no, I believe you've actually played.
I played it. It was the worst thing I've ever played. I have a very bad depressive disorder, and I thought it was very poor representation. The game is basically about a guy who his life is awesome, but he's just depressed for some reason. It doesn't make any sense. And the way he is depressed, it's just he's just not happy. That's not really how it goes when you're depressed. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I didn't like the game. And also, personally, I could have made that game in 20 minutes. Not the art aspect of it, but the programming for that game, I could have done it in 20 minutes. And I know Christian could do it even faster. I mean...
Well, I thank you for your confidence in my abilities, but it'd probably take that's a little hyperbolic.
Yeah, and you're not the only one either who thought this was a poor representation of depression. There was a group on some website about men who were also had depression. I can't remember what it was called. They were discussing the topic as well, said it was a poor representation, and Zoe Quinn actually sought them out and actually claimed that as harassment. And that was the first time she got in the news for that. Now, the most recent issue has come from... There was a falling out, and her game got greenlighted when Robin Williams died earlier this month. Well, actually last month. When Robin Williams died, her game got greenlighted on Steam. And the game itself, as we've talked about, isn't particularly great. But this brought up one of her past boyfriends, bringing up that she had cheated on him with 5 other guys, and that's where you're seeing the 5 guys, burgers and fries joke.
I actually haven't seen that.
Oh yeah,
I haven't seen any of those jokes.
I really don't think that that's as pertinent, because what she does with her life is her thing, but
Agreed.
Mostly it's the fact that who it was with, not the fact that it was done.
Specifically, one of the writers from Kotaku, Nathan Grayson, he's actually a new hire from there. He was one of the 5 guys that she was cheating on her boyfriend with.
And the reason why that's important is because of the positive press that he gave her in one of his articles.
And this was I don't think he's actually even covered what she did, but it's the fact that he is a writer and that is a natural conflict of interest. Yeah. And when people brought it up, they actually defended him, saying, "Oh no, it's not a conflict of interest." It is. It's a conflict of interest to have a writer for a website that will be covering your work to have a relationship with you.
Yeah.
At the same time.
At the same time, or prior to, or after. I mean, any of it can be an implication of, corruption of some sort.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I've only seen one thing about the conspiracy, and that was I read the thing that she had put on, I saw the thing that she had put on Tumblr where she was the people are going after me personally and my family, and then she was paraphrasing this, she was posting pictures of my tits and such does not actually do anything to point out corruption in the industry. It's just a personal attack on me. So that's what I saw her say.
Now,
her personal life is nobody's business.
That's actually interesting, because she claimed that she was hacked by several things, and there's actually a mounting amount.
2 minutes later, she was back on it, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And there was no passwords.
She didn't provide proof of it either.
And she hasn't confronted the FBI, at least not yet, within 2 to 3 weeks that this has happened. She hasn't talked to the FBI about it at all, which kind of leads us to believe. And like in the supposed nude photos weren't actually of her. It was a program, I believe, where you can have transpose somebody's head onto another's body or something, and they mix it up. I don't think it's Photoshop. Someone else brought it to my attention that there is a program out there specifically for this. And so, like we said before, what she does with her personal life doesn't really matter to us. We really don't care. But what it did to the industry is it exposed a lot of different stuff. And this is where you're starting to see this hashtag Gamergate. It's talking about the corruption in the industry. This was pioneered by people like Internet Aristocrat and Mundane Matt.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say it's exposed corruption. I'd say that it's sort of taken away our innocence of a sort,
and like the lens you put on it. Like,
yeah, we've come to realize that this is an industry that could suffer from corruption, and it's not that we've suddenly discovered that there's this huge, vast conspiracy or anything. We're worried about the future of our industry because of these happenings.
Yes. I mean, yeah, the indie game, the indie game thing is it's very important. I mean, as we said before, we love indie games. Christian was working on a game for a little while.
Yeah, that was fun.
And then, we know people that have worked on indie games, like our teacher from high school.
Yeah, and
our
a couple
our
of
teacher,
friends
he worked on a bunch of indie games, and then to think that in the industry that somebody could just go in and just I'm not saying she's a whore, but they could whore themselves out and then get positive reviews on a game that's not very good.
Yeah. Well, not even in the sense of just having sex with people either.
I mean, just anything
the fact that the industry is open towards that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the biggest concern to me. I'm not necessarily
there's the ability.
The ability for them to be deceived, kind of like earlier this year with Microsoft and Tomb Raider. I wasn't really mad at Microsoft doing it because Microsoft took advantage of a situation. I think I was more mad at Square Enix, and I think most people were, that Square Enix would be open to such a deal that they
would allow something like that to happen.
It's something like that.
At that point, it just kind of seems like they're conspiring against the consumer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we saw the video earlier today about and this was posted on Monday Matt's channel. We'll see if we can put a link in the description to it. And it was about the IGF, which is the Indie Game Fund, and this is a group of people who build indie games from 2D games, Polytron, and a couple other places.
Yeah.
And they have their own fund that they've assembled, and there were 8 of them in particular, and they also happen to make up the judge panel at IndieCon, which also gets the money that they receive from ticket sales and stuff and gives it towards the winners of prizes and such. And
it's essentially a way to fund some lesser-known indie games.
This was the thing where, they can vote for a game without even playing it.
Yeah.
And, the people that were on the panel, there was, basically no way Fez could lose.
Well, it was a conflict of interest because they were involved in the financial,
it's
financial
being
side
accused. It's being accused of alleged racketeering because they were able to have a game and have it rigged so one game would win in particular, and it would financially benefit the people involved for them to vote for that game.
Yeah.
And
if that's not a conflict of interest, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
And so that's the bigger issue. And there's been a lot of talk about the indie bubble popping sometime. I don't think it's going to affect development of smaller tier games or something, but I think it's going to hurt the credibility of the
of the industry.
I think it's definitely going to hurt the credibility of it. But I also feel like some of the smaller studios will be affected the most. Not necessarily really small ones, but some of the medium-sized ones.
I feel like this is gonna open up the possibility of people who just don't like a certain game or don't agree with the press a game gets to call a conspiracy theory on it, and then people might be more inclined to believe it. Well, I feel like that kind of opens the door for people that just want to try and ruin small companies.
That's really disappointing. I would hate to see a member of this community, or even someone that's outside this community, go to those depths kind of sink to that level, because that's really low.
I mean, I hope it doesn't happen, but I mean, I could see it happening.
I mean, I see the possibility there. I just hope that we as gamers don't buy into something like that.
I mean, yeah.
I think it also speaks to something that we as gamers need to pay a little more attention to, who's actually making these games and that sort of thing. And it's one thing to just play a game and enjoy a game for what it is, but it's also kind of, you speak with your wallet.
Yeah.
What you spend money on does matter, because if you buy a game by a douchebag, it's going to encourage the douchebag to continue.
Well, then again, I mean, despite who the person is, I mean, if their game is good...
Yeah, you shouldn't judge a game based off of its creator.
I mean,
you shouldn't do that, too.
I mean, I don't like the game Fez. I didn't even know who the creator was before today. I mean, I just don't like it. I have it, because I got it in, a Humble Bundle, and I just was not a fan. I didn't... I could see the appeal.
Yeah.
It's just, I personally was like, this game isn't that good. So, I mean, it wasn't because... It's especially because I didn't know who it was. I mean, I didn't know who Phil Fish was.
Well, you didn't know about the conspiracy at all, or just about him in general. You didn't know much about the guy.
I had heard about the thing about Fez 2, about how he said he wasn't going to make another one because complaints about him on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it never really registered with me. But I mean, so yeah, I just personally, when I play games and I don't like them, I just don't like the game.
Yeah. I have a similar but kind of opposite experience. I heard about all of that, and then I heard about the conspiracy and everything, and then I actually ended up playing Fez because it was free on the PSN after I knew all that, and despite that, I really enjoyed the game, and I didn't even bother to think about the trouble surrounding it. I try to remove myself and my opinions while judging a game like that. My outside opinions of people's actions, that is.
You got anything?
My major issue is in regards to at least what the indie developers are doing, or at least what they're allegedly doing with IndieCon and all that kind of stuff, is I don't know why they're so concerned with having to raise money for a game necessarily. If the game's good, you don't need to rig anything.
I mean, yeah.
Make a good game, and money will follow.
Well, then again, I mean, they might have had the problem of there are other really promising games. I mean, but that would just open up more of it to they were racketeering.
Yeah.
I mean, that would just...
On the other end of that, I personally, I'm not a fan of the green light system. I feel like it's just not a well-designed system. I feel like in its current form, it's just poorly designed, and it kind of lends itself to things like this happening.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is making me worry about because it's already happening with IGN. They're just getting they just get paid to write good reviews.
Years ago, when IGN was just like, "We're IGN, give us money, and we'll give you a good review."
I don't think a lot of people are counting on the games industry to blow up as big as it is now.
I
mean, honestly, the sphere of gamers in the world is absolutely huge.
Well, I personally view it as it's not necessarily the size, but the growth rate is what's important about the industry.
Yeah, you show somebody a good game and they'll be hooked. I mean, the first game I remember playing is I played Donkey Kong Country was one of my first games I ever played, and then I was just immediately hooked on video games. So, you show somebody a good game, you could show them any one of certain games, you could show them old games, you could show them Banjo-Kazooie, or you could show them Mario 64, or you could show them a new game, you could show them a lot of people love The Witcher.
Well, it has a wide appeal.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of different types of stuff. Yeah,
there's something for everyone in the game market. Depending on what you like, there probably will be a game for you.
Yeah, and that's what it takes to be introduced as a gamer. You find one thing that you like, and then from there you get exposure to it, and you start to get more into it. Whether or not you were brought into it by someone else, whether you found it by yourself, you'll foster an interest in it over time naturally. Yeah. And I think that's all I wanted to talk about. That's all I can think of.
Yeah, that's basically the gist of everything.
Yeah. Any other points you want to make?
Or last comments?
Not really, no.
Other than I think like I love this game. This is one of my favorite games. It's also an kind of an indie game.
This is if anybody's wondering, we forgot to say.
Yeah,
the
we
name.
didn't
This
really
is
mention the game.
Nano Assault Neo, right?
Yeah, for the
this
Wii
is
U.
for Wii U.
It's also for
If
the
you have-
3DS, but I think that this has more levels and stuff.
Yeah, there's more content on the Wii U version.
I also
This game is
wanna
very
do-
fun.
I also want to do Mighty Switch Force, a
Yeah.
thing for that, but nobody wants to play. No, they don't want to play that.
I mean,
It's made by WayForward, the people who did not this game, but
so basically, as
Mighty
closing,
Switch Force. It's made by the WayForward people.
as closing, I mean, we all just love games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're just trying to bring our opinions to this to light. I mean, I doubt we're gonna get a ton of views for this video, but
Yeah.
I mean, we just wanted to get our views out there. Anchorman told us that it'd be a good idea, since I had never heard of this conspiracy, to just see what my initial reaction to it was. And
I think
we'll
that's
see you
it
guys
for us.
next time on ClosetBros.
Yep.
All right, see you guys.
See ya.
Bye.